Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the National Seminar on Language and Literature, Senabatra, Department of Language and Arts Education, FKIF Sriwijaya University. I, Rizky Ramadia, will guide this first parallel session. And before that, let me introduce a brief profile of the presenters for this parallel sessions. The first one is Mrs. Cindy Melinda from Universitas Sriwijaya, and the title of the presentation is Students' Experience in Taking Online English Course and Student Speaking Ability. And the next one is Mrs. Yowen Sartika from Travelogene, Mr. Ismail Petrus from Universitas Sriwijaya, and Mr. Dimroh Ihsan from Universitas Sriwijaya. And the title of the presentation is Analysis on Mata Najwa and Narasi TV, Najwa Shihab, Empty Chair Interview, Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan. The next one is Mrs. Fadila Hairani and Mrs. Kuntum Trilestari from Universitas Taman Siswa, and the title of the presentation is Developing Students' Vocabulary Mastery During the COVID-19 Pandemic by Using Blindfold Games in Online Learning. And the last but not least, Mrs. Nia Aurina from Royal Islamic School Palembang, and the title of the presentation is Students' Perception and Experience on Online Learning Implementation During COVID-19 Pandemic. All right, that was a brief profile of our four speakers in this parallel first session, and each presenters of each session will present the results of their thoughts for 10 minutes, followed by a question and answer session for 5 minutes. I hope that all the audience can be active in asking questions in the Q&A session and after the material delivered by the presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, you can submit directly in our chat room and in the format of name underscore origin of institutions underscore question, and submit it when the presenter delivers his or her papers. All right, I'll invite the first presenter to Mrs. Cindy Malinda. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bu Ula, for the chance. First of all, I'm really sorry because my picture cannot appear in the screen. I think maybe there is a trouble in my device here. I hope it is not a big problem for us, and I hope our discussion will run smoothly until the end. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable all lecturers, colleagues, and all participants, good afternoon. I am Cindy Malinda from Sriwijaya University. Today, I would like to present my research with entitled Students' Experience in Taking Online English Course and Student Speaking Ability. For the host, can I share my PowerPoint?
All right, Mrs. Cindy, please wait for a moment.
Yes.
All right, Mrs. Cindy, now you can try to share screen.
Okay, thank you. Well, my title on my research is Student Experience in Taking Online English Course and Student Speaking Ability. Let me know what becomes the problem here. I cannot click it. Click the next button. I'm sorry. I will try again. Okay. Okay. Because my research is about the correlational study. So the problem here is there any significant correlation between students' experience in taking online English course and students' speaking ability? Well, here there are two keywords that cover my research that they are speaking and online English course and their relations. As we know that speaking is used as a tool to interact, to share opinions, to get information, and to feel emotions. It is an easy way to express feelings. Um, when students are good in speaking, it means that they are successful in language learning. Therefore, students should master speaking due to its function and use for communication. And also, speaking plays the important role in language learning classes. In order to have a good communication, students must have a good speaking ability to make other people understand their talks. However, not all the students have a good speaking ability, right? It gives them obstacle to communicate and it makes them feel scared to speak in English. So there are three main issues which affect student speaking ability. First is vocabulary. Vocabulary is fundamental need to support students' ability. When students are lack of vocabularies, they will get stuck because they are confused what words they have to say. Second is grammar. Grammar is one of the accuracy of the language content. It becomes like a requirement to make the other person understand and get the information from the speaking. And the third is pronunciation. It is a way how we pronounce the words correctly. Pronunciation is not easy. It is because not all students have a good pronunciation, especially for Indonesian students, uh, because English is placed as a foreign language in our country. So I think uh, it's a little bit hard to pronounce or to speak correctly the words. Okay. Mostly, students learn English at school in order to enhance their speaking ability. At school, students learn all English skills like speaking, reading, listening, and writing. However, they improve all English skills. It is because school cannot cover all their needs in each aspect. Therefore, they usually go to English course to improve their English, especially their speaking ability. At English course, students can improve their speaking ability based on their interests. Taking English course is the most common way that students do to enhance their speaking ability. It helps students to reach the level of English language proficiency from basic to advanced. English course provide facilities and the programs which will give a lot of advantages for students. But unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic has introduced uncertainty into major aspects of national and global society, including for schools, to ensure that the students can continue their education during school closures. Many countries move teaching and learning online. The students are supposed to learn at home with asynchronous activity, and there's a lot of way for supporting student in online learning. One of that way is taking online English course. Online English course recently become popular among students with is flexibility and mobility. Unlike in-person education methods, online education tend to be more affordable. There are also often a wide range of payment options that let people pay in installment or per class. This allows for better budget management. Many of people may also be subject to discount or scholarship. So the price is rarely high. People can also save money from the commute and class materials, which are often available for free. In other words, the monetary investment is less, but the result can be better than other options. It also gives a big contribution for keeping social distancing among users, so that people still stick on their rules and keep them safe at home. So the objective of the study is to find out whether or not there was a significant correlation between student experience in taking online English course and student speaking ability. The sample of the study is the second semester students Palembang in academic year 2020-2021. To analyze the data, I use Pearson product moment correlation coefficient to find out whether or not there is a significant correlation between student experience in taking online English course and student speaking ability. To collect the data, I use two methods. The first method is interview. The aim of interview is to know about their experience taking online English. There are 10 questions that I asked. It took 5 until 10 minutes through face-to-face conversation and recording the answers through Zoom meeting. After that, I assess their speaking interview using an adaptive speaking rubric that it was made by Braun 2002. And furthermore, the second method, I use student speaking score. In this case, I took student speaking scores from their speaking for informal interaction subject to check their speaking ability. Well, here are the findings on my research based on the result of their speaking interview scores related to their experience in taking online English course and their speaking for informal interaction score. There were 30 students who were categorized excellent in speaking and 8 students who were categorized good in speaking. And then in order to find out the correlation between students' experience in taking online English course and student speaking ability, I analyzed it using Pearson product moment coefficient on SPSS. The result indicated that the value of R obtained of the two variable higher than the R critical. It showed that there was a significant correlation between students' experience in taking online English course and students' speaking ability. And the last of not the least, and to find out the contribution of students' experience in taking online English course to student speaking ability, linear regression on SPSS was used to analyze it. It showed that the contribution of students' experience in taking online English course to students' speaking ability was 98%. So here come the conclusion for my research. First, all students had an excellent result that mostly were in range A. And then there was a strong significant correlation between students' experience in taking online English course and student speaking ability. And then there was a significant contribution of students' experience in taking online English course to student speaking ability. And the last, the contribution of student experience in taking online English course to student speaking ability was 98%. I think that's all for me. I hope it will give more references and further consideration for language students in their studies and even other researchers. A broader scope and more varied sample related to this investigation are highly recommended in order to confirm these findings and to explore more possible theories. Okay, thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to Mrs. Cindy Malinda. What a very interesting presentation has been delivered by Mrs. Cindy Malinda. And next, it's time for us to have a question and answer session to all the participants. If you have any questions, you can directly chat in the chat box, and then I will read and ask Mrs. Cindy to answer your questions. So please be active and put forward your question in the Q&A session. Okay, so we have a question from Rani Remita. Good afternoon. I'm Rani Remita from Universitas Sriwijaya. I have a question
in progress.
in this part. Do you think what is the more effective between traditional English course and online English course for students? For Mrs. Cindy, are you ready to answer the question?
Okay, thank you for the question from Rani Remita. I think there's not the best chance for both because they have one purpose to help students enhance their interest and focus to reach their goals. Because as you know, at the course, students feel free to learn in their own way, and they will get enough attention in learning, especially for speaking, and then it will make them enjoy the learning process because they don't feel shy to learn or ask questions. But from all, I think they have one purpose like that, and to help students to setting their learning goals. And because this is because we are in the pandemic era, I think it is more safe for people to choose or to join online English course. Thank you.
All right, thank you to Mrs. Cindy for answering the question, and I can conclude that the more effective English course for this pandemic or in this era is online English course, because
Yes.
students would feel not shy to simply ask questions to the teachers. And the next question is from Reni. What aspect do you use to assess student speaking? For Mrs. Cindy, you may answer the question.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, I forgot to put the to put them in my PowerPoint. Yeah. Actually, there are 6 aspects of speaking to be score, like task, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, comprehension, and fluency. Okay.
All right, thank you to Mrs. Cindy. So there are 6 aspects that is used by Mrs. Cindy in her research, and I guess that's the end for the first session. Let's move to the next presenters. Let's welcome the second presenters, Mrs. Yuen Sartika, Mr. Ismail Petrus, and Mr. Dimroh Isan.
Hello. Okay, share screen first. So here, I will discuss about the critical discourse analysis on Mata Najwa, NRC TV, and teacher interview Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan in 2020. And here, the background. Last year in November 2020, the COVID-19 crisis has reached around 500,000 people infected nationwide, and based on the Nuning Nuraini on BBC Indonesia in 2020 state that mathematically the number of the infected in Indonesia has reached million cases, but it's undocumented. And also, unfortunately, the absence of the Terawan on media also give the issue in Indonesia last year as the health minister of Indonesia. And Mata Najwa in Narasi TV claimed that already invite several times Terawan Agus Purtanto for having public interviews regarding how he handled the COVID-19 crisis in Indonesia. But unfortunately, there was no answer or callback from him. And also about the critical discourse analysis, actually the teacher interview is not a brand new in the USA or Europe. It's common way how to protest and demonstrate the critics. And here, but in Indonesia is something new or brand new, and the only one having the teacher interview is only Mata Najwa. And addressed to Terawan. And for the last, I give the example, Clint Eastwood did an teacher interview to criticize the Barack Obama in 2012. Here, in short, there are three main reasons why I address this issue. First, COVID-19 is worldwide pandemic along 2020 and several conspiracy theories. And secondly, teacher interview is the first spoken discourse in Indonesia initiated by Najwa Shihab. And the last discourse analysis helps to analyze objectively in revealing or to reveal the hidden message or utterance in the passage or in the narasi TV in Terawan Menanti Terawan, hashtag Menanti Terawan. And here for the methodology, I use the Norman Fairclough for the three-dimensional of CDA. The firstly, analysis at word level, and secondly, analysis of destructive practice takes place at the text level, and also last analysis of norm level in social practice, which is also actually in line with Rogers 2004, and also here the illustrations of the how the description, interpretations, and also explanations, and also Norman Fairclough has a purpose to describe macro, micro, and meso, and in line with Rogers, should include descriptions, interpretations, and also explanations. So here is the discussions for the describing linguistic expressions. There are two in Narasi TV and also on the Twitter in 2020. The first one is teacher interview atau hashtag wawancara bangku kosong on the Twitter, and also Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan or Mata Najwa waits Terawan. Here the symbol hashtag is called to label or keyword on social media, which makes search easier. And also, the empty chair here means the absence of person who should sit at the prepared seat or should be interviewed. Moreover, the interview reflects the conversations which contains questions and answer between two people or more. Therefore, an empty chair interview refers to an activity of plotting the questions without the presence of interviewee. So the absence, because of the absence of interviewee, so it's called as empty chair interview or wawancara bangku kosong. And here, the absence of the Terawan Agus Purtanto, who has avoided the interview invitations for months and no presence in the interview makes it one-way communication where the interviewer, who is the only one, dominates the show without the rebuttal or clarifications from the object. And also the hashtag of Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan is labeling of the TV show focusing on journalism genre, which means wait for Terawan. It can be concluded that Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan, meaning is Terawan as health minister, is waited to have an open discussions at Mata Najwa show, as well as that the usage of hashtag is set with a purpose and agenda of Mata Najwa and Narasi TV, and leads also the audience to have following criticisms to make the issue viral and trending topic in such social media such as Instagram and Twitter. And the popularity of the hashtag can be the viral marketing and the brand new awareness, and it also can be a tool to threaten the government. And also, after explaining the linguistic expressions, there is also text analysis. Here, the text analysis hashtag Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan contains tenses, directness, and indirectness, and also metaphor, such as kesekian kalinya kami mengundang inilah kursi dan panggung Mata Najwa untuk Menteri Terawan. Mengapa menghilang? So here is like the direct and indirectness, and also the metaphor that are used by the Najwa Shihab on the show. And furthermore, the text has several hidden meanings that should be revealed as indirectness or metaphor. And also the microstructural analysis. The data 1 to 5 on the paper are aimed to provoke the health minister to resign or to give him time to clear his name and face by clarifying on his effort on handling COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. And also after that, mesostructural analysis. Here, for the mesostructural analysis for Mata Najwa and Narasi TV, has the motto Indonesia tak tersusun dari batas peta, tapi gerak dan peran kaum muda. Indonesia is not composed by maps borders, but by movement and roles of youths. So in the motto or the motto of the Narasi TV means Indonesia is not composed by maps border, means borderless ideas and informations, and also by youth movement. Here means independent and no tendency. And also the analysis, the macro structural analysis, actually there are three. The first one is social cultural practice, situational, social level, and also institutional level. On the macro here, for the first one, for the situational level, the interview for TV show on Mata Najwa and Narasi TV, and topic is about the COVID-19 management criticism to Indonesia Health Ministry, and also the purpose is inviting Health Minister to have interview and clarification on public. And also for the institutional level, PT Narasi Media percaya, registered and verified, and also has legal proof since 2019 and also 19. And also Najwa Shihab also as the host has a reputable image, awarded as the most progressive figure by Forbes magazine 2016. And for the social level, the social, cultural, and political situations from the language choice in Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan can be reflected as igniting and insulting the object, although the news is also critical, sharp, and also profound. And for the conclusions, in Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan and also empty chair interview conducted to make points of the health minister Belder in COVID-19 management by gimmick of interviewees' absence, and but it has weaknesses such as has no rebuttal or clarifications from Terawan or the government or the clarifications from the government sides, and use several metaphors such as satire and also irony. And also the production of Mata Najwa and Narasi TV has institutional context which involves journalists, news managers, editors, content productions, and others. So for the suggestions, actually because it's just one side interview, so Mata Najwa should in the future should publish should invite or give the chance for opportunity to the government or Terawan to make the balanced informations or clarifications. And also for the next researchers or writers, deepen research on the effectiveness on M-teacher interview, because M-teacher interview in Indonesia is quite brand new. So that's all for the conclusions in social discourse analysis. Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan provoke the community or society through the hashtag in social media to threaten the current health minister in 2020 to resign from his positions. Thank you.
All right, thank you to Mrs. Yowen, Mr. Ismail, and Mr. Dimro for a very interesting presentation. Next, it's time for us to have a question and answer session. Please do put in the chat room if you have question to Mrs. Yowen. And we have 5 minutes for the question and answer session. Once again, for the participants, you can put the question in the chat box. Okay, the time for the Q&A is 1 minute left for this session. Anyone in this oral session who want to ask, please do ask in the chat room. All right, if there is no questions from the audience, let's move to the next presenters. To Mrs. Fadila Hairani and Mrs. Kuntum Trilestari from Universitas Taman Siswa. The time is yours.
Well, okay, thank you. We'll share the screen first. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. First of all, let me introduce myself, Rani. I am from University of Taman Siswa Palembang. So here I would like to explain to you about my article, and the title is about developing student vocabulary mastery during the COVID-19 pandemic by using Bible games in online learning. So the first problem is this about the vocabulary. Vocabulary has an important role in learning English. The more people master vocabulary, the more they can speak, they can write, read, and listen as they want. And still, in Indonesia, especially students in Indonesia, still lack of their vocabulary. And there are some factors that make they lack of their vocabulary. First, because of they are use their own language in their daily life as their first language, and they speak is English is an unusual thing for the student, and most of them do not belong to educated family, and they just use English in the classroom and do not practice it when they come home. So the students still need to focus on the vocabulary achievement. Besides, in the world nowadays is facing pandemic that we know that it is we call coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic. So the study or the education life in Indonesia changed dramatically from face-to-face learning into online learning. So it makes the students, of course, to students still need attention for increasing their vocabulary in order to improve their skills, of course, of English better. According to the KPAI Commissioner for Education, they have a survey in 2020. They said that only 4.1 the teachers only give assignment and ask for the submissions without any learning interactions or material explanations. So, in other hand, in the online learning, teaching methods are too old for the students nowadays. In teaching vocabulary, most teacher only give the assignment and they don't have any interactions. So it makes the students very bored in online learning. And one of the best way to solve this problem by using media. And one of the media that used in this article, it is about the games. Why games? Because of games are more easy and fun to learn by the student. And according to Biruma 2030, one of the games that suitable apply in online class is blindfold game. Blindfold game is one of the media that can improve student vocabulary. According to Astianda 2019, blindfold game successful to help student improving their vocabulary. On the other hand, January 2015 also ever applied the blindfold games in junior high school. So because of that, in this article, the writers try to apply it in senior high school student by online learning and to find out whether the blindfold game is significantly improve the student vocabulary achievement or not. And the next, it is about the methodology. For this methodology, for the method, okay, the study used a pre-experimental design with one group and pretest, post-test study. Then, to know if there is any significant improvement of student vocabulary mastery, the writers compare the student scores before and after being taught by using blindfold game. And for the populations in this study took in 11th grade students major of Hotel of SMK Madya Tama Palembang. And the next is for the collecting the data. This study used tryout, like vocabulary tests. So the test consists of 30 questions, such as multiple choice, synonym and antonyms, true or false statement, and filling the blank of English words. It is used for measure their vocabulary achievement, of course. And the next, for the process of data analysis, is done on pre-test and also post-test score, and also using Phil-Cousin sign rank test. And the next, this is the steps in the teaching vocabulary by using blindfold games in online learning. First, the study used pretest, of course. So pretest used for the population. Population is the populations is 11 grade students, and which is divided into two classes with a total number 56 students, and with the sample 28 samples. So the first is using a pretest first, and the second step, they are after pretest, they will be have a meetings. They started 6 meetings, play with blindfold games. Uh, and as we know that in blindfold games, in online learning has various types. So the writers choose a game that is suitable for student situation and also the conditions. And they are, for example, like World Wide World, the Jacks, Tic-Tac-Toe, Missing Word, Duolingo, and others. So what is the activities that students in this online learning? Students need to complete the missing word based on the clues and also the directions. It makes students trigger to or to learn English, especially in vocabulary. And the last, after the 6 meetings, the writer will be give the post test after the treatment. Okay, and the next, the finding and discussions by using the student scores in pretest and also the posters. The result of the Fickerson that already measured non-asim sign to tail 0.00 because of 0.0 lower than 0.05 is significance level. So if in other words, 11 grade student of SMK Madya Tama Palembang have significant improvement in vocabulary achievement. The students enjoy more the writer taught them while playing the blindfold game, and the student enjoy more and have fun in learning English. The student provide language practice in various skills such as speaking, writing, reading, and listening. Although the students study in online learning, but they can enjoy the study and may remember the lesson. And the writer can conclude in this research, there is significant improvement after the students were taught vocabulary by using blindfold games during the COVID-19 pandemic in online learning. For the suggestions, maybe if you want to research for the future researcher, maybe you will be prepared well for the media and the material to be given the student, because in this case, the writers use Zoom for the online media to deliver and give the material, but still it has more weaknesses, of course. It can be the signal or something like that, and so that for the next researcher will be better to choose the best online media to teach blindfold games in online learning. Well, I think that's all for my explanations. Really to ask me if you have a question or have a suggestion or something like that.
All right, thank you to Mrs. Fadila Hairani and Mrs. Kuntum Trilastari for the presentations. Next, please put your question in the chat box with the format name _ origin _ question. And we have 5 minutes for the question and answer session. All right, so I see a question from Mrs. Ida Rosmalina. How did the researchers decide what vocabulary was needed by the students? How much words were taught through the games? And for Mrs. Fadila, are you ready to answer the question?
All right. Okay. Thank you for Mrs. Ida Rosmalina for the question. Actually, why the researcher decide the vocabulary was needed by the students? Because of it is the experience. In my experience, I ever took this school, especially SMK Madiatama, as my PPL. So here I I saw and uh, I saw that the students in this school is very low motivations in learning English because of they don't understand what the English means, or what they cannot they cannot speak in English, because of they don't have any vocabulary. So I think it is because of that, uh, students still need vocabulary to be study in their school. And the next, how much words were taught through the games? How much words? I think it is more than a thousand words, because of there are different games in every meeting. For example, in one meeting, in the first meeting, we have games in the name is word wide games. It is like we are filling the blank of the words in the games, and it is to they have a level in every games. So it is more than 1,000 words in every level, in every games, in each game. Sorry.
All right, thank you for the answer, Mrs. Fadila. So I can conclude that uh, the students in schools are mostly low motivated in English because they don't understand what the word means. And then Mrs. Fadila suggests that the student need to study more about that, and also about the amount of words that is taught in the games is about 1,000 words. And that is the answer for the question from Mrs. Ida Rosmalina. Next, we still have 2 minutes left for the question and answer session. So for the audience, if you have question, please drop in the chat room. All right, so there is one question from Tamara Beckett, and the question is the media effective, and how can the researchers apply it? For Mrs. Fadila, are you ready to answer the question?
Okay. Okay, for the second question, is the media effective? I think it's still learn what, yeah, it's still be our experience. So the media until now is still effective because of in this pandemic era, the media that we can, what, yeah, that we can find is totally difficult. So in one of these media is still effective to apply in online learning, and how can the researcher apply it? The researcher will be more, I think I have suggestions for the next researcher. You will be more effectively and efficiently if you uh, choose the best online media. In this research, I use Zoom for the media, but still have weaknesses. For example, like the signal of the students, and also the maybe in the quota or something like that. So maybe you should find the other online media to deliver this these games or this study.
All right, thank you to Mrs. Fadila for the answer. So I can conclude that the media is effective because now is pandemic, and then uh, the students can choose one of the media that is effective to apply in online learning. Next, let's welcome the last but not least presenters, Mrs. Nia Aurina from Royal Islamic School, Palembang. The time is yours.
I'm sorry about my laptop. Wait a moment.
All right.
Okay, thank you for the moderator for giving me the chance to give the explanation about this article, Online Learning, Student Perception and Experience on Online Learning Implementation During COVID-19 Pandemic. Here are the contents of this research: introduction, research question, method, result and discussion, and then conclusion. First, introduction. Since the global spread of COVID-19, the teaching and learning process have shifted from face-to-face to online learning in order to prevent coronavirus. From interacting directly, and all activities are limited to online mode, with the internet connection serving as the primary means of communication between students and teachers. Online learning is a type of distant learning where students and teachers do not meet in traditional classroom setting, and the internet became its main media. Stern 2018, Jamil and Hamid 2019. In the case of pandemic, traditional teaching can put student and teacher at risk of serious health concern. As a result, choosing the online learning mode is the safest and most advantageous option. And it is easier for both student and teachers to complete the teaching learning process, since it can be accessed by student and teachers at any time and from any location. And the most important point is that it saves time and money. In other words, it is inexpensive. In lesson with Gilbert 2015, online learning also provides some benefit for students. Students can do their works anytime, anywhere that is more compatible and convenient with their learning needs. On the other hand, online learning has a problem faced by students who deals with this online learning. For instance, the low bandwidth internet connection, and it makes students in and out during online classes. Spending a lot of hours in front of the computer or handphone could produce negative physical effects such as visual discomfort, exhaustion, and muscle and joint ache. Based on understanding above, the study will look the advantages and disadvantages of online learning from the perspective of Raden Fatah University 7th semester students. There is a question: how the student perception experience on online learning implementation during COVID-19 pandemic? And this is the method. This research is descriptive qualitative method which aims to gain a rich and deeper analysis of respondent perception, and also questionnaire were used to collect respondent perception regarding the implementation of online learning. An open-ended question were used to identify student perception regarding effectiveness and obstacles during online learning process. The method of analysis chosen was thematic analysis. Generally, thematic analysis is the most widely used qualitative approach to analyze data or information. And then it's continued by interview. As the result, this is the advantages and also disadvantages during COVID-19 pandemic when student learning on online learning. The advantages is time and place for conducting learning were flexible. They can open book when they have a task. The online learning process were more relaxed rather than the face-to-face learning. No need to dress up properly along the online class, and they can study together with their family at home. Students have time for taking rest. And also, no travel costs. The learning process was more personal. They have time to help their parents at home for earning money. They are safe from COVID-19 since they do not need to go out. They did not waste their time on the road. The learning material documentation was easier. The class started on time, unlike face-to-face learning. And this is disadvantages. Extra internet data package, eye damage, less understanding on the material, interactive communication, the short deadline task submission, a lot of tasks to do at the same time, voice volume, the poor internet network, low motivation, cannot meet each other or classmates, reduced interaction with the lecturer, electricity issue, and unconducive location. As the result, the implementation of online learning during the pandemic in Nasional University did not run smoothly. Mostly students have to the negative perception regarding to the online learning implementation during the pandemic. Besides, Nasional students could take the advantages which was more than disadvantages on online implementation and found that time and place flexibility were the major advantages for students conducting the online learning, whereas the major barriers come from the poor internet connection and the extra money to support in online learning. Therefore, by viewing a student description on face-to-face, as Chayani et al. Said that in online learning, it's difficult for teachers to control students' learning atmosphere, since it is restricted on virtual class. As the result, student learning motivation are getting low, even their learning achievement get down. This is the student perception. Studying by using online learning is not really the effective way because no clarity for the explanation due to the unstable connection. Online learning is not really within bad framing. Using online class is more fun because we can enhance our creativity in 21st century. And the challenge in learning online lies in the lack of good internet network, and there is no direct communication between students and teachers. No need to go back and forth from one place to another. It's not only save time, but also save money, which can spend on other priorities. However, there are also obstacles during learning online, namely slow internet network, expensive quota prices, difficult to interactive, and so on. Online learning during this pandemic certainly has its benefits and challenges, such as being at home, we can spend time with family and ourselves. And just the conclusion, to summarize the implementation of online learning during the pandemic of Nasional University provided students with some benefit as well as some drawbacks. The student will not be able to obtain the material through the virtual class, but they will be required to make additional financial sacrifice. In the end, the results were lower than those obtained through face-to-face learning since our government has established a new standard for social interaction. It will be preferable if students set aside time to participate in a small group discussion. Thank you. Okay, I think that's all from my presentation. Go back to the moderator.
All right, thank you to Mrs. Nia Aurina for the great presentations. And I would like to say sorry for the lateness, so we cannot have question and answer for the last presentations. And next, I would like to conclude the presentations from our four presentation. The first presenters talks about correlations between students' experience in taking online English course and student speaking ability using Pearson's product movement coefficient. The research shows that there was a significant correlations experienced in taking online English course, and for the students to have good speaking ability, student must have several things that support students' ability, for example, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciations. And the second presentation is about analysis on Mata Najwa and Narasi TV Najwa Shihab MT Chair interview, Mata Najwa Menanti Terawan or Mata Najwa with Terawan. The background of this problem is that the COVID-19 crisis and the absence of Terawan on media. So Mata Najwa and Narasi TV claim several times inviting Terawan Agus Purtanto for having public interviews regarding how he handled COVID-19. And the next one is about um, a blindfold game by is about I'm sorry, the next one is about developing students' vocabulary mastery during the COVID-19 pandemic by using blindfold games in online learning by Mrs. Fadila and Mrs. Kuntum. And I can conclude that to solve the boredom in pandemic era, during learning, we can use games. One of the games that is suitable applied for online learning is blindfold games. And the research used experiments with one group with pre or post study, and then the next one is the last presentations from Mrs. Nia Aurina, and it's about students' perceptions and experience on online learning implementation during COVID-19 pandemic, and the background for this research, because there are closures of educational institution due to the spread of COVID-19 disease, and because of that, the students have some advantages and disadvantages of online learning. For example, flexible time and place, not wasting time on road, and also learning course feels more personal for the advantages, and for the disadvantages, the students needs extra internet data, poor internet network, and sometimes low motivations. So that's all for the conclusion for today's first parallel sessions. Once again, I would like to thank the participants and the four presenters, Mrs. Cindy Malinda, Mrs. Yowen Sartika, Mr. Ismail Petrus, Mr. Dimroh Ihsan, Mrs. Fadila Hairani, and also Mrs. Kuntum Trilestari, as well as Mrs. Nia Aurina, for your time. And may you always be happy and healthy. Next, all participants are expected to return to the main room and wait for the next session. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, and don't forget to return to the main room.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the National Seminar on Language and Literature, Senabatra, Department of Language and Arts Education, FKIP Sriwijaya University. I, Ermalati Putri, will guide this second parallel session. Before the presenters present their thoughts, let me introduce a brief profile of the four presenters. The first presenter is Mrs. Nafarita from Batu Raja University with the title of presentation, Parents' Perception of Primary School Towards Online Learning During the Pandemic COVID-19 Pandemic Period. The second presenter is Mrs. Solange Francil Silva from Sriwijaya University with the title of presentation, Third Culture Kids Language Acquisition Through Literacy Practices. And the third presenters are Mrs. Tamara Base Chandri Dinanti, Mrs. Rita Indrawati, and Mr. Sonny Mirizon from Sriwijaya University with the title of presentation, Report Stacks on Climate Change, Elaboration of Students' Need Analysis.
And the fourth presenter is Mr. Karwandi from SMP Lematang Lestari with the title of presentation, Students Reading Comprehension versus Prior Knowledge Assessment. All right, that was a brief profile of our four speakers in this Paralel 2 session. Each presenter will present the result of the thoughts for 10 minutes, followed by a question and answer session for 5 minutes. I hope that you can be active in asking question in question and answer section after the material delivered. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, you can submit them directly in our chat room in the format of name _origin _question, then submit it when the presenter delivers his or her paper. All right, I'll invite the first presenter, Mrs. Navarita. To Mrs. Navarita, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the moderator. I'm so sorry because I have in good condition in my health because I already 2 days in bad conditions. It is also my voice. I think you can listen my presenters with my voice like this. I need help for the moderator to share my PowerPoints because I have a trouble in opening my PowerPoints. Can you help me? For Mrs. Irma, can you help me to share the PowerPoint?
Okay, Miss, thank you. Wait for a moment. We'll share your screen.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you send the file to the committee?
I had already sent yesterday before 6.
Okay, all right, ma'am.
Mbak, I can go first if you need time to prepare.
Okay, it's okay.
I asked Cindy to share my PowerPoint. Cindy, are you able to share that?
So Mrs. Solangi Francis Silva will present first. For Mrs. Solangi Francis Silva, time is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a different topic than my friends. So my topic is third culture kids and language acquisition through literacy practices. Research questions are, how is the process of language acquisition for a TCK? Can you just stay in the first one, please? Thank you, Cindy. So, and the second one, are the TCKs able to fit in when they attend an international school? And how is that going to be? And the third one is the role of schools and parents in the journey of learn languages or language acquisition. So for methodology, the population was third cultural kids from international schools here in Palembang. To collect data, we use interviews, surveys, in a kind of qualitative methods. And but to talk about third cultural kids, we need first to know the concepts. And can you go? Yes, thank you, Cindy. So first, you need to understand some concepts and what the term third cultural kids or TCKs, what the term mean. So TCKs, third cultural kid, as the term it's already explained in the previous slide. It's not something new. It's not something like brought up with the 21st century. It's something that was coined in the 1950s by Ruth and her husband, right? Ruth and Sin and her husband. So they went to India and they went there to study workers from the US. And when they interviewed the wives and the kids, they found out that the kids, they were being raised in a different culture, different from the parents. It was not American culture and was not Indian culture. It was another one. And then they call it the third culture. So, and then during that time, they coined the term third culture kids, but along the years also, other sociologists and anthropologists, they discussed about it. And David Pollock is an expert in TCKs, and he was the most famous one in the past 10 years because he wrote a book about it, and I happen to have the book here. So if you are interested in the book, it's called Third Culture Kids and Growing Up Amongst Worlds. So, and it's really interesting because he became an expert in third culture kids because he also did a travel to various countries, and they discovered that those kids, they were accompanying their parents and they need to learn languages, they need to learn another culture, and that was different from the culture of the parents. So can you go to the next slide, please? So, but we also need to understand that those kids, they need to communicate in order to communicate verbally, in order to express themselves, in order to fit in, maybe in the culture, maybe in the school, maybe in a country, different country that they are with the parents. So they need to learn languages. And more specifically in this paper, we are talking about learning English languages. So in order to do that, to learn languages, not just the language that I speak at home with parents, but English language in school, international school, specifically international school. So they need to become bilingual or multilingual. So, and then what is bilingualism? What bilingualism means? So bilingualism means the ability to communicate fluently in a language other than your native language. Jayan and Sujarno, 2019, said that. And also multilingualism, Kang, 2013, said that a multilingual is delineated as an individual who masters more than two languages and like in a native level of proficiency. Can you go to the next slide, please? So now that we understand that third culture kids are kids raised in another culture, language, country, and different from their parents, different from where the parents come from. So we know that they need to acquire the language, they need to learn new languages to be able to communicate, to be able to fit in. Now we are going to see how they do that. And first, they need to learn languages, more specific English language, through many literacy practices. I think everyone knows that literacy practices are essential for kids' cognitive development and refer to activities that involve reading, involves listening, speaking, writing. And schools and parents, they play an important role in helping the kids, in helping them to acquire the literacy skills that they need in order to learn language, in order to acquire another language. So schools play an important role, as it's shown here in the PowerPoint. International school literacy practices are usually applied with the influence of a Western culture curriculum, which can have advantages and disadvantages for a third culture kid. So researchers agree that schools must create a learning environment where the students, they feel free to discover and to develop their literacy skills. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, so they need to create this environment in order to to give a space for the kids to try new things, to try speaking and listening, learning the culture of their peers. So and also they need to acquire skills such as awareness of sounds, of language, awareness of print, and then the relationship between letters and sound, vocabulary, spelling, comprehension, and how can schools they do that in an effective way? How can they do it in a way that will be effective to the students, to the third cultural kids? So based on the research, HANA 2015, we found out that they need to consider the teachers, the international school, they also need to consider the kids' background, the kids' culture. Not just, they arrived here to study English right now, so we don't take into consideration anything, but they need to do that in order to help the kid to learn. So they can, for example, create activities using media, like playing a game that will encourage students to share their backgrounds, the heritage, maybe things like what do you like from your home country, maybe about the origin of the names, maybe share a meal, for example, asking the students to share a meal. Of course, the teachers need help from the parents, because in this case, mostly in this case, I think while we studying, the kids and parents, schools and parents need to work together closely, but for third culture kids, they need to have more help from the parents. International schools need to have more help from parents. So maybe they can propose an activity like share food, so the parents will bring food, and then the kids will explain about food, about the background, about the culture, so on. So the schools have an important role in this immersion in multiple languages and cross-cultural education. So can you go to the next slide, please? But not just schools that have an important part to play in this journey of language acquisition, but also parents. The role of the parents is really important also. So Topper 2006, Manolitz 2011, Nicholas and Schneider 2013, they all agree that parents contribute to their children's reading acquisition by exposing them to a rich home literacy environment. So the paper also talks about listening, speaking and writing skills, and also talk about the home literacy model created by Senecal and Lefebvre. This literacy model created by Senecal is a model that where the parents, they will create activities that will be meaningful to the children. And can you go to the next slide, please? Because we have examples there. Thank you. So, and they can do the activities also related to code that happens when parents teach the kids to pronounce words, to how to read, maybe in a specific word in their home language, so they can do that. In this model of home literacy. So we know that parents contribute to the children's cognitive development by exposing them to a rich home literacy environment, right? So they need to pass on their family heritage, like their values, and they can do that through stories, chants, rhymes, poems, sayings, songs, maybe songs from the childhood, maybe a song that was sung by the parents. Maybe they can also teach the kids to do it. Also, parents talk about nature, science, play games, puzzle. All of these are examples of literacy practices at home. So reading a book, maybe the kid is not ready to read yet, but then you show a picture book to them so they can create their own story.
Sorry, Miss. You only have 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Research has shown that one does not learn a language easily if they are not to speak their home language. So the parents need to do all of these activities in their home language. And if the kids, they have difficulties at school learning English, they also can help the kids in English with those activities, the activities from the previous slides. But if they are not able, can you go to the next slide, please? If they are not able to do that, if they're not able to speak English well, so they need to find a tutor or someone that can help the kids. So in conclusion, the third culture kids are kids who accompany their parents to other countries, and they need to learn languages, they need to learn another cultures to be able to fit in, to be able to learn, to be able to acquire the skills that they need for 21st century. So, and parents and parents and teachers, parents and international school, they play a role in this process that is really important to the kids' language journey of language acquisition. So that's all. If you have questions, please drop in the chat box. Thank you.
Well, a very interesting presentation has been delivered by Mrs. Salanya Francel Silva. It's time for us to do a question and answer. For the participants, if you have questions, you may drop your questions in the chat room. Well, for the participants, if you have question, you can drop your question in the chat room. Okay, I see a question from Nurul Wahyuni. The question is, what do you think the disadvantages of having a Western curriculum or sending the students to an international school can have to the student? To the presenter, please kindly answer the question.
Yeah, thank you, Nurul. What I found out is when the kids they are sent to an international school, they cannot, they don't have enough time to be able to enjoy the culture of the country they are living in. So they go to an international school and then they learn English, but they don't learn the language. For example, if someone from America comes to Indonesia and then they send the kids to an international school, the kids will still learn English, will still continue with English, but they are not able to enjoy Indonesian culture. They are not able to speak Bahasa Indonesia. They are not able to make friends, to make Indonesian friends because they don't communicate unless their friends can speak English. But for example, I am in Palembang. It's not everyone, it's not every kid that can speak English. So I think those are the disadvantages that they can have.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Holanya, for your great answer. And there is the second question from Luciana. The question is, what is the biggest challenge for the third culture kids in acquiring language which the society speak or use? To the presenter, please kindly answer the question.
I think it goes back to the first question also. So they don't have enough time to be exposed to, for example, in Indonesian, they are from another country, they come to Indonesia, they go to international school, but they don't have enough time to go out because they are in an international school with international school children, like with international school peers. So they don't have enough time to learn the language. And then that's going to be a problem for them. Thank you for the question, Lucy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the presenters and participants of Senabatra, that's the presentation from Mrs. Salanya Francil Sylvia. Hopefully the knowledge conveyed is useful for all of us. Thank you to Mrs. Salanya Francil Sylvia for your great presentation. And next, let's welcome the second presenter, Mrs. Novarita. To Mrs. Novarita, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the moderators. Can you help me to share the slides? Sorry, Putri. Okay. Good afternoon, all the participants of this seminar. My title of this seminar is The Parents' Perceptions of Primary School Towards Online Learning During the COVID-19 Pandemic Periods. Okay, start with the introductions here. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Can you help me, Putri, Miss Putri?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Slide. Previous. Previous slide, please. Okay, start with the introductions here. During the COVID-19, second slides, yeah. E-learning is the systems of learning based on the technology which use electronic technologies in order to access educational curriculums or material outside in traditional classroom and educational campus. It is according to him, it's at the 2021. The Indonesian government's implementation of the large-scale social restrictions has impacted the routines of the community and students in the learning system. So that's why distance learning or using online system have a provided solution of school that are starting to implement the school from home or as have age system. So that's why online learnings in this system used in every schools. System, Wikipedia, videos, article, and other platforms. So this article will emphasize the how is the parents' perceptions to use online learning, because not all the student or parents know applicates the system. So that's why uh, I will I will check what is the parents' perception of the primary school toward the online learnings. Then, according to Harsasti Sutawijaya 2018, student satisfaction is important in the evaluations of distance learning as it relates to the quality of online learning and student performance. And then I also did the pre-observations to the some students' parents, whether the results found that there were various problems that included the bare provision of school infrastructure, such as the internet networks that all schools have not enjoyed packages. So that's why student satisfaction is important in the evaluation of distant learning as it relates to quality of online learning and students' performance. Then next slide, please. I will explain some theory of this article. The first is what is the online learnings. Next slide, please. Online learning is the use telecommunication technology to deliver informations of education and education and trainings. It seems important for the online learners to process high internet self-efficacy to complete required tasks for the online course delivered through the internet. In this way, internet is very important to do use online learning, because uh, if internet is not good connection, so we cannot do the process in online learnings. And then the second is e-learning has grown tremendously over the past several years as technology has been integrated into education and training. So online learning is useful tools for the enhancing the quality of the teaching and learning. And then online learning is also innovative approach to education delivery via electronic forms of information that enhance the learner's knowledge, skill, and others' performance. So, in our condition now, in COVID-19 condition, online learning is very important because, yeah, we know that the online learning is very crucial, yeah, because some of the students or some of the students' parents needs more information how to use the online learning in several platforms. For example, WhatsApp webs, and then Google Classroom, and also another platforms. For the next slide, please. Okay. I have many perceptions with online learning according to Warner 2014. Perceptions with the online education at the elementary and secondary levels included five aspects. The first aspect is school level technology. In this level, support is related to overall student satisfaction with online education at the elementary and secondary level. If online school can reproduce with permission of the copyright owner, furthers reproductions prohibited without permission, maintains the technology support help desk to ensure that students are not frustrated by the inability to assess their assignment due to the technical problems. Student satisfaction can be enhanced. So that's why technology is also important to use the online learning. The second level is school level instructional support has been effects on the student satisfaction also with online education at elementary and secondary level. This emphasizes the importance of prompts, appropriate teacher feedback, timely communication regarding process, and respect for the individuality student satisfactions. The third aspect is the quality of the online curricular programs is associated with the student satisfactions with online education at the elementary and secondary level. The development and use high quality online courses that are free of technical problems is important to student satisfactions. And the fourth is opportunity for social interactions related to student satisfaction with online educations at the elementary and secondary levels. Although online students do not interact with their peers at the same level as the traditional classroom, providing some opportunity for peer interaction is important to student satisfactions. And the last is overall satisfaction is included. Students are able to learn at his or her own space in this school. Students are able to learn at appropriate own level in reproduce with the permission of the copyright owners. And then comfortable providing assistance to the child when the teacher is not available. And then child is learning as much as more than if was is the traditional school settings, and the administrative support the child's school is adequate, and then overall satisfaction with the child experience of online education at the school. And the last is suggest the online school to other parents for
I'm
their.
sorry, Mrs. Navarita, your time is 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Okay, the last is and last but not least, methodology that I use this article is descriptive. So I as this 9 by Ulu, and then The design procedure I also followed by the standard, and then the conclusion is every student's parents feel dissatisfied to use the online learning because sometimes the students have many problems in their process of the learning. So that's why the result of this article is disagree on categories. There are some suggestions to the online learning process. I will discuss in the last slides. I think the platforms used of the others to the school needs many improvement, because depends on the questionnaire that I use. The parents for these participants choose disagree. I think enough for my presentation. Thank you, Putri.
Okay. Well, it's a very interesting presentation that has been delivered by Mrs. Navarita. It's time for us to do the question and answer session. So for the participants, if you have a question, you can drop your question into the chat room.
Excuse me, Putri. Can I leave this seminar because my field is not good?
Okay, Miss. So that's the presentation from Mrs. Navarita. We'll continue to the next presenter. Thank you very much, Mrs. Navarita, for your great presenters. So the next presenter is Mrs. Tamara. Mrs. Tamara Dinanti. For Mrs. Tamara Dinanti, time is yours.
Thank you very much for the chance. Could you share my presentation, please? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Here I would like to present about my article entitled Report Text on Climate Change, the Elaboration of Students' Needs Analysis. From me, Tamara Dinanti, Rita Indrawati, and also Sony Mirizon. Next slide, please. Okay. This is the abstract. Actually, the international community recognizes the importance of education and training to address climate change. It's also called in the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in the Paris Agreement. And also, UNESCO has been working to make education as part of international response to climate change. And education is very crucial part to have promotion to climate change. So it helps people understand and address the impacts of climate crisis and doing climate action, actually. And as the people to act as change of agents, this issue makes education needed to promote climate change to the global nation. And one way to announce it is by promoting the reading materials about climate change, especially in report text. And we know if the report text as supplementary reading materials that could be applied in the school. So by learning this text, students will have knowledge and awareness in nurturing the world, especially our environments, and also improve their skills of reading. And this study actually aim to elaborate the students' needs in English report text on climate change in terms of one or target situation analysis, present situation analysis, necessities or need analysis, and the last knowledge analysis. Next slide. Okay, introduction. We come to the introduction. Haryanti Indrawati and also Aryansha, 2020, conveyed that to avoid students' boredom while reading text, actually we need appropriate materials. And here, the appropriate material is report text. Why? Because actually the report text has existed in the lesson plan of senior high school. And it is based on the Ministry of Cultural Education, Research and Technology 2020. And it also included in core competency of the lesson plan. The teachers need to construct the report text to notice the content and language aspects, both spoken or written critically during the learning process. Besides, 2013 curriculum added report texts that need to be learned by senior high school students. As it is mentioned, report text is a crucial part of materials, especially supplementary materials that students need to learn. And as mentioned before, about UNESCO 2020, the international community actually promotes about the importance of education and training to address climate change. And the UN of Paris Agreement also called the government to educate, empower, and engage all stakeholders and major groups to have the climate change or climate actions. By importance of this issue, so the UNESCO has made the education as the international response to climate change, as students need to have learning of the supplementary reading materials, especially for report text. And then, actually, every human has the responsibility to participate in nurturing the world, like climate action that they should do, especially for students. And this phenomenon makes the students need to understand by learning climate change in their reading material, that is report text. The first thing to do is actually conduct a need analysis to meet the students' need, according to Aziza Indrawati and Fianti 2020. And we know that need analysis has a vital role in the process of designing and carrying out any language course, whether it become to English for specific purposes or ESP or general English course. And its centrality has been acknowledged by several scholars and authors. It mentioned by Moonby, Rhetoric, Cantrell, and other scholars. Need analysis is also determined to inform the learning situation, to take into account various types of learners and their levels of English skills and the materials available.
Mrs. Tamara, your time is 2 minutes left.
Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, by those kind of analysis, we need the objective of this study that was to elaborate students' needs in terms of one or target analysis, present situation analysis, and necessities or need analysis and knowledge analysis. I will explain one by one. And it actually, according to Brown 2009 and also Dan and Mansell 2018, necessities or need analysis refers to identifying learners' needs that include what they know and what they do not know, or what they want to know. And the main goal of need analysis or necessities is the user's satisfaction. And for present situation analysis, showed the gap between the present and the target. And present situation analysis explores the student's language proficiency when the language course begins and their strengths and weaknesses. And actually, PSA or present situation analysis concerns the strengths and the weaknesses of the learners. It aims to assess learners' lack by noticing their current use of language. The third is target situation analysis or TSA. TSA focused on students' needs at the end of the language course. And TSA emphasizes particular situation based on nature and effect of target language communication. It's based on Berwick, 1989, and other scholars. And the last, for target situation analysis, we have the following question that we can ask to the students or some other participants, like, why is the language needed? How will language be used? What will the content or area be? And other questions. And the last, about knowledge analysis. The knowledge of climate change also can be asked to the English teachers, stakeholders, and students, like to what extent they understand this issue and civic involvement. Next slide, please. And this is conclusion. By doing it analysis before developing actually the material that we would like to develop, we can do the needs analysis, especially in terms of necessities or needs analysis, present situation analysis, target situation analysis, and knowledge analysis that's suitable for analyzing learners' needs about report text on climate change and other topic materials that can we look for. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Back to the moderator.
All right. It's a very interesting presentation that has been delivered by Mrs. Tamara. So it's time for us to do a question and answer session. For the participants, if you have a question, you may drop your question in the chat room, or you can raise your hands. For the participants, if you have a question, you can drop your question in the chat room. Once again, for the participants, if you have a question. All right, I think I see a question here. The question from Luciana. The question is, how do students see the environment after they learn about climate change in the report text? Does it also change their behavior towards their environment? To the presenter, please kindly answer the question.
Thank you very much for Luciana for the question. Actually, your question is about how the students see the environment after they learn about climate change. Okay. After they reading supplementary materials about report text, especially for climate change, in the material, it can be included about what climate change is, and also the information about climate changes, and also what to do by the citizen to have climate action to nurture the world actually. So the students also can get information, or maybe they can nurture the world or by reading this text. I will know that we have to clean our environment and so on. So the students can be aware of their environment more. And the next question about, does it also change their behavior towards their environment? It can be, because after we read some as like book or something like that, we can have our knowledge about that topic, and then it also can change our mindset, and also we can have the information and the perspective that I should do this. So that's why it can be important also. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your great answers, Mrs. Tamara. So, ladies and gentlemen, speakers and participants of Senabatra, that's the presentation from Mrs. Tamara Dinanti. Thank you very much to Mrs. Tamara Dinanti. We'll continue to the next speaker. Let's welcome the fourth speaker, Mr. Karwandi. Dear Mr. Karwandi, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, moderator. Let me share screen first. Okay, Putri, can you see my PowerPoint?
Not yet, sir. Yeah, now we can see it. We can see it now, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable, our lecturers, and also my friends, the presenters and all audience, and also the organizing committee. My name is Karwandi. Today, I'm going to share about my mother is the most important person in my life. Is very blank and caring very much. She loves cooking and is great of chef to me and my family. She is always very nice to me. She never blanks her anger. When my mom is around me, I know that I will have a good time and moment. She speaks with her kids amiably. Her smile can brighten up any room of my house. Blanks, a matter of second, I love her very much. So maybe, Putri, can you help me to answer the first question? Can you guess what is the answer?
I think the answer is she is very...
Yeah. It's okay. So you will not get score bad or good, yeah? Okay. So in your opinion, the answer is?
Because the title is My Lovely Mom.
Yeah. So
I think the answer is B.
Wow, absolutely correct. It's amazing, yeah. Yeah, actually this question is given for junior high school, yeah. Okay, so that's why because maybe Putri has background knowledge before. I mean, maybe she has more vocabulary and also grammar. So for those students who doesn't have vocabulary, so they will be difficult to answer this question. And this is happen when the teachers give the questions just test for vocabulary or grammar. For example, the second is about grammar, so odds, and also the third is about preposition. So for the students who doesn't have enough vocabulary, they will be difficult. Thank you so much for your help. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. It is about how to create students of reading. Yes?
Your time is 2 minutes left.
Okay, you're welcome. So here, how to create questions of reading comprehensions related to the prior knowledge. When making questions of reading comprehensions related to prior knowledge, teacher must be able to use open-ended questions help students activate their background knowledge and never give direct questions when assessing reading comprehensions because it does not help the students using their prior knowledge. Maybe I can show you the examples of making questions by using prior knowledge. Here is example. So we have the lions, the fable story. So for the students who have read this story about lion, of course they will have more experience. Although they don't read the questions yet. So if it is talking about animal, they will have imagination. So it will be happen in the jungle. It will wild and also good animal like that. So it is the question of background knowledge. And then from these problems and this example above, so I can take the conclusion. First, prior knowledge has an important determinant on reading comprehensions because previous studies shows that the students who use their prior knowledge has better score than those who do not use their prior knowledge. And the second, some points to active students' prior knowledge, they are giving open-ended questions and ask our students to read more and more. And the last, find the related story, for example, Prambanan Temple and Narojonggrang, if you want to give a narrative text. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much for the moderator and always obey protocol. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right. Thank you. It's a very interesting presentation, which is from Mr. Karwandi. And it's time for us to do a question and answer. So in the chat room, I see a question. It's the question from Sesi Metrika. The question is, how can we measure their prior knowledge? As we know that the students are very diverse in several aspects, as well as their knowledge too. Thank you. To the presenter, please kindly answer the question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the question from Sesi Metrika. Yeah? Okay. So in my opinion, so how can we measure their prior knowledge? Of course, first, it will be better as a teacher, you should give pre-test before. So after we give pre-test to our students about the topic that we are going to teach, so we can know the readiness of the readiness of the mastery of students in the topic that we are going to teach. So here we can know, so we can prepare what is the suitable text, the suitable material for the students. So we can select which one is the suitable. So we can make the average. Which one students has better prior knowledge and also which one is medium prior knowledge and also low prior knowledge. So in my opinion, we should give a pre-test. I think that's all, Putri, and also Sisi Metrika.
All right. Thank you for your great answer, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, presenters and participants of Senabatra, that's the presentation from Mr. Karwandi. Hopefully, the knowledge conveyed is very useful for all of us. And thank you once again to Mr. Karwandi. All right, Senabatra participant, that was as well as the question and answers that have taken place. Thanks again to our presenter for the time and presentation that has been given to all of us this afternoon. Hopefully, what has been conveyed by our speakers will be useful for us. If I may conclude, so the first presenter, Mrs. Solange Francil Sylvia, who talk about third culture kids language acquisition through literacy practices, says that it's really important for students to learn another language in the 21st century. And for the second speaker, Mrs. Navarita, which talk about parents' perception of primary school towards online learning during the pandemic COVID-19 pandemic period, tells that it's really important to use the technology in this online learning, which can also support the students' need in this online learning. And the third speaker is Mrs. Tamara Bays Tanri Dinanti, Mrs. Rita Indrawati, and Mr. Sani Mirizan talks about report text on climate change, elaboration of students' need analysis, mentioned that it's really important to know, to determine how students know about climate change, which also can help the students to change their behavior to nurture the environment. And the last presenters is Mr. Karwandi, talk about students' reading comprehension versus prior knowledge assessment, mention that the prior knowledge can be applied in reading. It's used to determine reading comprehension, and it also helps students to understand the reading and master the reading. Once again, I would like to thank to the four presenters, Mrs. Navarita, Mrs. Solange Francil Silva, Mrs. Tamara B. Stanley Dinanti, Mrs. Rita Indrawati, and Mr. Sani Mirizan, and the last presenter, Mr. Karwandi. For your time, may you always be happy and healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. To the presenters, you may back to the main room. Thank you very much.
So we leave the room, Bu Putri?
We may back to the main room, sir.
Okay.